From We Run With You, I'm Kathy Witten.
And I'm Rob Alvarez. Welcome to Season 3 of Doing Good. In this episode, we talk with Dawn Mureddu.
Dawn is a survivor and unwavering advocate for the brain aneurysm community with an encouraging perspective on disabilities. Dawn has learned to embrace the invisible challenges she's lived with because they are a reminder that she survived. In this insightful conversation, she shares the realities of long-term recovery and why advocacy is just as important as recovery itself. Hi, Dawn. Welcome to Doing Good. Thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat with us today. I'm gonna ask a very important question later on in the segment, but I'll leave that. I'll leave that for you to guess for the
Thank you.
next few minutes. Yep.
Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you.
I usually like to just jump straight into it. I think from what I heard, but just a week ago, you celebrated 13 years since your brain aneurysm.
Yes,
Yay.
I did.
It's a
Very happy.
Happy
Big milestone.
13th anniversary. Yeah. I like to call it anniversary. What do you call it?
I just say anniversary, but everybody say anniversary.
So how did you find out? Did it actually rupture, or was it detected prior to rupturing?
No, it wasn't detected. I had migraines for 23 years. I
Oh my
lived in
gosh.
3 different states. I had 3 different neurologists, and no one ever looked in my head.
Oh wow.
And one day when I felt the pain in the back of my head and I finally asked my neurologist to take a look at it, it was a 31 millimeter giant fusiform aneurysm. So I had to have 2 brain bypasses.
Wow.
And because it was that size, that they discovered that it was very rare to have.
Mm-hmm.
But it did explain my 23 years of migraines that I had.
Yeah.
All
Well,
that
we certainly have something in common. Mine was also a fusiform,
Wow.
but I don't think it was that large.
Yeah, 31. No, that
Thir-
sounds very large. Like, I'm surprised. Like, did they ever talk about were they surprised it didn't rupture? Like, for it to be that
Yeah.
large.
So, well, mine bled first,
Oh, it did. Wow.
then it stopped bleeding. So I kind of blew it off. I thought it was a weird headache. It didn't feel to me that it was the worst headache of my life. It was just the weirdest headache. I always had my headaches on the left side, which is where my aneurysm was, but this one was in the back. And it was bleeding, and then it did stop bleeding. So I kind of blew it off for 3 weeks. Then
Wow.
I talked to someone. I was in the gym and I was with a trainer. Because I blew it off, I called her to make another appointment. And she said, I'm not going to take care of you until you go to your doctor and see what the heck that is.
Good for her.
So she actually made you.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, I had 12 to 18 migraines a month. So, I just thought it was a weird one, and I had them for a week at a time. So, to me, it was weird, but the pain, the pain was there, but it wasn't as bad. So I just, I just took my time with it. And when I talked to my doctor, I said, I can't massage it like I usually can. And that's when he got nervous and said, you got to go get an MRI. So I did that, and the people in there wouldn't let me go. They called my neurologist, and then they told them what they saw, and he told me to go to the hospital right away.
Wow. You know what I find interesting is you said 23 years of migraine. I think the body and the mind probably is almost immune to that level of pain. And I'm really curious. You said yours is in the back. Mine was in the back. And you had a bypass surgery?
Yeah, well, the pain was in the back. My aneurysm was on the left side.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
My aneurysm was in the back of the pica. So mine was a connection of the left to the right pica
Oh,
bypass. So I was like, wow, we really have much more in common than I
yeah.
had anticipated.
So now
Okay.
yours, did it affect your balance?
I didn't realize it affected my balance until after, during the recovery when I was going through PT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I did go to the hospital, but the only doctor in the state of Rhode Island at Rhode Island Hospital
Mm-hmm.
was in the airport going on vacation. So the emergency room was texting him and telling him what I had. And basically, they kept me overnight. They did an angiogram.
Mm.
And they let me go the next day and said, we'll have to put a team together. So go home and, wait. So my husband Chuck had stayed with me till about 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went home and he stayed up all night researching. And when he researched, he found that there was this doctor in Boston, Dr. Christopher Ogilvy, who had put together the Brain Aneurysm Foundation.
Okay.
And he was a surgeon, and it's only 50 minutes away or an hour away. And so he decided while that other doctor was on vacation, we would go to Boston. And so I called them on a Sunday and just left a message. And Dee Dee Buckley, who is his nurse practitioner, called back my husband on a Sunday and said, "You got to get in here right away." So we did that on Monday, and they wanted to see what it was about. We told them it was a giant fusiform aneurysm, and you know how rare that is. And so they decided that they would, take care of me, and they told me, how rare it is, and it's going to affect your speech and the other things. And, I really didn't believe them, how bad. I don't feel that bad. 12 to 18 migraines a month. Yeah, if I get rid of those, that would be great.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how rare, what they meant.
Yeah.
And what's an aneurysm? All you hear is that people die from aneurysms. So I just wasn't sure what it was meaning
Yeah.
to me and my body.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate their urgency.
Well, I was like,
Yeah,
so, even knowing, we're talking to you now, 13 years later.
Yes.
When you were telling me they told you to go home,
I know. I
was getting nervous.
I was like, what?
Yeah. It's like, no, don't do that.
Like, God, no.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm glad that your husband did the research and like when I said I appreciate them having that sense of urgency, like, no, we want you to come in. And that's what,
because knowing now,
I don't think I would have been able to, knowing what.
Well, knowing what we know now.
Yeah.
It's like, that's very.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. I just think that, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Really. Because I really had 3 symptoms of a brain aneurysm that day when I got that weird headache in the back that didn't go away. That was one thing. I also had gone in the ladies' room and I ended up getting sick. And this is in the gym and it was just water. So 13 years ago, I came out of that ladies' room and said to the trainer, "Oh, it was just water. I'm the biggest loser." And I started laughing at myself. So that was really another symptom. And then I finished the workout and I went home and I don't even think I even mentioned it to my husband, but I was going to take a shower and I looked in the mirror and I saw 2 of myself. And so it was
blurry
like
vision,
double vision,
beveled. So I had one of me here and then one of me here. And so I yelled downstairs to my husband, "If you hear a thud, it's me. I just have funny, vision right now." So I thought it was one of those headaches that affected your vision that I never had before. So, I just went on with my day. So,
wow.
Yeah, those were the 3 symptoms that I know now that I did not know before.
So how long was it from when your husband made the phone call to when they actually did the surgery?
So it's about 5 weeks. So,
okay.
So 3 weeks had already gone by.
Mm.
Dr. Ogilvy said that I need to put a team together. He talks to people all the time and they want to make sure that they want to research everything. And he took the MRA and had other tests that he wanted to do himself. I brought the ones from the hospital here and his were just totally different. They saw much more. I have pictures of them right with me if you wanted to see. But what he said was that I'm going to schedule your surgery for 5 weeks from now. He said the fact that 3 weeks have already passed and it hasn't rebled means that more than likely you won't bleed again before that time. So we were taking a little bit of a chance, but he felt positive that I would not bleed anymore.
So what was that like for you waiting or kind of anticipating that
very,
surgery?
very nerve-wracking. They said, don't go to work, don't have any stress, have you prepared your will?
Yeah, don't
Really?
stress. But yet everything
Okay.
they're telling you not to worry about, it's like
Yeah.
I'm going to worry about.
Yeah. And during that time, my husband had to travel for business and I told him to go. I have family here. They can watch me, and but I was calling him like, "Oh, does this sound good?" What a big job they gave to me to do ahead of time. So, yeah. I was 53 at the time, so I really wasn't prepared for anything like that. So, yeah. So there was stress involved. I worried because I really didn't know what it would be like. So that was a lot of that stress there. Yeah.
Can you, I guess, tell us about what you remember from waking up after this surgery?
I woke up. I couldn't talk. I couldn't walk. They would show me a flashcard of a house. I didn't know what that was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they would put 4 colors down and say, this is red, this is blue, this is green, this is yellow. Pick out yellow. And I couldn't pick out yellow. So I described myself as a 1-year-old having to relearn every single thing again. And at the time, my work, I was a mortgage underwriter. And, I had to get my act together. So if I wanted to go back to work.
Yeah.
So it took, I think it was the 3rd day by the time I could start to say a few words. And it was the day that I figured out that flashcard was a house. I got that one word and I was thinking, hopefully I'll get it the next day. And I did remember that the next day and I got another word right. And it wasn't until I got the word for harmonica.
That's a hard word.
4 syllables, that I knew I was on my way. I just knew it. And I started to walk. I think it was on my 5th or 6th day. On my 8th day, I made 2 cups of tea. So I was doing my OT. And then, I think I was in the hospital in ICU at, Mass General, 9 days. And then I transferred over to Spalding 24-hour rehab. And I was there for 13 days. And through all of this, I was there 5 days before the bombing of the Boston Marathon.
That's right. That's right. Wow.
So the day I was going to leave Mass General, President Obama was there. And all the doors were locked. So we were like, how do we leave? And we wanted to see the president before we left. So we made sure that we could catch a glimpse of him before they leave. So it was exciting in a different sad exciting that I was well enough to leave there and go to 24-hour.
Yeah, I guess given that, like how you were, when you woke up from the surgery. That seems like a very fast progression.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. The progression. I mean, it seems so dire. I mean, that you couldn't
Oh, it was
speak, you couldn't, make, two and two together, and then slowly, but well, actually, quite fast, you were able to take on so much more tasks. I guess they can say.
yes. And also, I had asked my husband to take video of myself progressing so that make me feel better to see that. And it did go, I guess, pretty fast, but at the beginning, everything was in my head and it just couldn't come out.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't process everything. And, it made you kind of worried, but I was the type of patient that mine didn't rupture, so it wasn't a surprise. And so I kind of knew I was going to have work ahead of me. And when I got to Spalding gave you a menu of what they wanted you to do for the day. So the first thing, if you want your breakfast, we will take you to another room and we're going to talk about what's in the newspaper. And so what we were talking about. We were talking about the marathon and what happened. And so it got you to talking. And it was something that you weren't thinking about how to pronunciate because everyone in the group was the same, or there were also people there that couldn't speak at all. And they were there just listening and trying to participate. So it was a really unbelievable meeting. After that, you would do occupational therapy, you would do physical therapy. Then you would graduate to working on the computer or different other things. So there was always something to do. And then there was lunch in the middle, and it was kind of like a work day.
Yeah.
Every day you did all of those things. It was really, really interesting. And it was also interesting to see what the brain did every day. And, I would start getting those words. My husband had put apps on my iPad so I could work on things when the doctors weren't there. On the weekends when the doctors weren't there, I would do those apps. And so it made it, I don't want to say kind of fun, but it was something to do. And eventually I would have my husband bring in the checkbook. I want to see if I can balance that checkbook. Yeah. And so that was something else to do. What was the other thing I did? The numbers, and you fill in the blank numbers. Geez, I know what it is. But I would do
like Sudoku or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, that was it. I did Sudoku a lot. And eventually I would have to tell my speech therapist, you're gonna give me math because I have to graduate to going back to work and doing my job. And so you have to mix that in with, everything else that I'm doing. And so they did that. I think on the, let me see. I was in Spalding for 13 days. So I think I was there for almost a week when they finally brought me outside. And I hadn't seen the outdoors, and springtime was happening because this month.
Yes.
It was just fantastic. It was like, oh, wow, I could see flowers blooming. And that kind of also brought some things back to me to keep trying hard. And so all of those little things kind of built up in me. And, I got that one word, and then I started doing sentences and talking and playing games, and my family would come and we played Uno together. And so again, it's numbers, it's small to follow, it's colors. And so those things really, really worked for me.
Yeah. But I also wanted to just, mention that I appreciate the method that Spalding did, because you may know that we fundraise for rehabilitation. post-acute rehabilitation. And I think that's just the methodology that they were using as far as, call it, reacclimatizing you to daily basic tasks, morning, lunch, dinner. It almost kind of made it easier for the brain to like slowly grasp, like, yeah, it's easier to familiarize yourself with like, basic
Basic thing.
daily. Yeah. So I think that's a phenomenal way of approaching rehabilitation, because a lot of people think of rehab as, working on your physical movement,
Yeah.
not the cognitive, not the memory or, yeah. So
But you
I
guys,
gotta check them
yeah,
out now.
that is I've never heard of a
I'll show you.
program like that.
Was there? It was like, that's your work.
Wow.
Okay.
There's the list.
So yeah. Oh, and that's me going outdoors the first time. That was day 14.
I was gonna say, yeah, we'll definitely have you share some of those photos with us, and we'll
Oh,
plaster them. Yeah.
And also, on my Facebook, I have posted some of the videos, cut them down so that they could see, but you can see myself struggling to count.
Mm.
But I got to tell you this part. So when the therapist came in, and I believe this was still in Mass General, so I was struggling to get certain words out, and they showed me the house and I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
They took another avenue and they showed me house spelled out and other words spelled out, and they'd say pick out house, and I pointed right to it. So they figured out how my brain could work, and they worked it that way. And then I graduated to doing the other way, but it also made me feel more confident too, because I was getting things right. And it was kind of the hard way, but that was the way my brain was working.
Yeah.
But that's how fascinating it was to see these people that were helping me and how they told my husband and my family, everything's fine. She's still swelling. There's still maybe some blood there. And she is making progress, but they didn't really know it yet. And I certainly didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
But when they found that way then it was gung ho. They knew what way to go.
Yeah. And I love that they kept trying. And if, whether it was the first way it didn't work, I appreciate the fact that they try another method because, as as a survivor, we celebrate the little wins. And I think they wanted to give you so many little wins that'll add up to, make sure that your confidence stays intact.
Absolutely.
And that you're not, progressing backwards in terms of, emotionally and mentally. So that's great. I think obviously you were in the right place, right time.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Because the original doctor, we did end up going back to him. And that original doctor in Rhode Island said, I know who you went to in Massachusetts. I think you should go to him. You've been dealt a bad hand after the fact. After he takes care of you, if you need anything after, I will help you. But he knew. He knew it. Yeah. So with the way they made me progress, it did make you feel more confident in yourself. And that helped a lot because when you're on that brain floor, people are not happy. The patients are not happy. And a lot of those patients did not know what happened to them. A lot of people have a rupture or they're in an accident, or if they fall, they hit their head and they have no idea. But I think the fact that I knew that really helped me, because when I got that word house, that was like the best day. And I would always clap like, yay, and, I knew how to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what made me go on to the next day feeling, oh, did I remember that? And when I did, I just felt so much better.
I love that for you that the word house, the trajectory from there on was just forward momentum. That's awesome.
It's house and then harmonica. That was
Oh,
it.
yes.
Harmonica,
And harmonica.
That was a big one.
Harmonious. That is so harmonious. Yeah.
But, I think that's why it's also another reason, which we hadn't even really thought of, is why, we were on with you. We focus so much on the rehab, and because there's just so many different ways of getting someone from that, post surgery to back to back to work or back to doing what they love.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it's so important. And I'm just so happy that you had all those people that were, from Mass General to Spalding to help with, and their different techniques to get you to back to your normal or new normal.
Yeah. I got back home and I had to do outpatient, and I did that for many more months. Um, and I got back to work 10 months later.
Okay.
I actually wanted to go a little further, but the way it happened, 10 months was gonna be it. And so I probably went back a little early only because of my self-confidence. That was really hard because I didn't feel like I measured up, and I thought people would know it. And then you have people looking at you saying, "Oh, you look great." And then,
Yeah.
you can't say
Yeah.
the right word, you can't think of the right word, and then you feel like just not adequate.
Yeah.
So I did need some help during that, and I got a life coach, and it was fantastic that I
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
good for you. I certainly appreciate you saying that, the fact that you weren't feeling as confident because, with brain injury, and especially those who've, been dealt this hand, it's an invisible injury. Not many people, they see us and they're, we look fine, we look normal, we look like what we used to look like.
Yes.
But, it's what's inside, they don't know what's stirring inside or what's holding us back. So I think it's really important. That's why for us, it's so meaningful when we have individuals like yourself, share your story. And so many, have indicated that, they feel this sense of, something's lacking because everyone thinks that, well, you're fine. Like, why can't you be back to how you used to be? Well, gosh, it's not like you're going to stop everyone in their tracks and say, oh, by the way, I had a craniotomy or I had brain surgery. No, that's not how you clearly don't want what happened to define you. But at the same time, you almost want to have a sign that says, hey, I've been through something pretty rough.
Yep.
My disability is invisible. So be kind, be patient with me. Yeah. So I can certainly understand.
I did have a manager at work at one point. I asked the same question 2 different times, and this person just said, "You already asked me that question." And that made me feel extremely small. And that, like you said, people don't get it. And it's
Yeah.
true, and I totally understand it.
Mm.
Because there was one other employee years prior. I've been at my job for about 18 years, but there was another person that had a brain injury. And when she came back, she wasn't quite the same. And I wondered, I wonder what happened. I wonder, why is she like that? And then when that happened to me, and then, that person made me feel extremely small. So, but, that person at this time has really never said anything to her, this person. And she really has that understanding now.
Okay.
That's good.
That's good.
Did it on her own, I guess. Yeah.
So how did you process all that? I guess that happened to you and all the, having to kind of fight back to get back to being able to do your work.
Well, over that time, because I had all the apps that I worked on, and then the outpatient place that I went to was a little difficult because they had us in the basement and the internet didn't really work. But I did a lot of work at home. And my husband was in the mortgage industry as well. So we kind of worked together on some things, and it did bring me back to work after the 10 months. And the job that I had, they actually gave it away to someone else, because if you're out of work 6 months, Rhode Island, you don't have to have they won't save your job for you.
Okay.
But when I was ready to go back, I did, I called earlier and said, do you have anything? And it was an underwriting position.
Wow.
And I did give it a whirl, and it just happened. It just came back to me. And so I did that for a while, and I did that for a couple of years. And then as I, got older, that program ended. And when the program ended, then I would have to look for another job in the office. So there was a woman who was retiring, and she was in facilities. And that's what I do now. I'm in facility. I take care of events.
Okay.
I pay all the bills.
Numbers involved there.
Of course, it's always math. I love math.
Yeah.
And supplies, I order things. So I run around all day, which I absolutely love. And it's better for me. It really worked out in my favor. So
Good.
I was very lucky to get that. And so that's what I still do today.
So shifting gears a bit, I know Kathy mentioned you are big with advocacy, especially with the Brain Aneurysm Foundation.
Yes.
What got you, or what led you towards that path?
So I never thought I would need to go to a meeting, but they did ask me to go to a meeting to tell everyone what I went through.
Okay.
And I went to the meeting and I told everybody what I went through, and they were the warmest people. We had a lot in common. And I just never left. I never left. I think that they all saved me. The nurse practitioner, Dee Dee Buckley, her sister is the president of the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. So it just kind of all came together. And I have such, I'm just so happy of everything that they've done for me, what they've described things for me, and, explain things to me that I didn't really realize that would happen, and how to work around it. And because Dr. Ogilvy started it with his nurse practitioner, and then I have Christine Buckley as the president, it just all works together. And all of the people that work at the Brain Aneurysm Foundation are all extremely warm people. Hearts are in it.
Yeah.
We go to DC to lobby every year. We've probably been doing it. Let's see, if I'm 13 years, I think we did it 9 or 10 years.
Wow.
During COVID, they did skip 1 year. And then we did it from home 2 years. But we've been there at least 6 or 7 times. It is hard work. It's a fast pace. You can't be late. If it's, if you're in a security line and you're outside and it's pouring rain, that's the way it is. But you do all of these things because your life was saved. And your heart is so in it. My husband is always there supporting. We do the walks as much as possible. One of the brain aneurysm survivors does a comedy night in Saugus, Massachusetts every year. We try to go to that every year. So we do like to stay involved. And we feel that it's very important that people all over the world do not know what these symptoms are of a brain aneurysm. And 1 in 50 people are walking around with a brain aneurysm. I am one of those people. It's not hereditary in my family as far as I know. I just had this. And like I said, I lived in 3 states. No doctor, all the doctors said it was hormonal because I didn't have children. So they all said that was it, and I believed them. And I didn't say, "Can you just look in my head?" I didn't even know
Mm.
that would be something to do. So yes, I owe the Brain Aneurysm Foundation as much energy as I have to give them.
That's
Yes.
great. Well, I will I will echo that and say that I am in much admiration of the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. I had, the honor and, I think earlier on, much earlier on during I think my recovery when Christine Buckley reached out to me.
Wow.
Uh yeah. So, and although I follow their page, I try to keep up with their newsletter and what they're up to, but I certainly am so appreciative of all the valuable information that they share, not only on a personal level, sharing survivors' story, just like the quotes that people share to get them through, and other ways that onlookers can ask, like, how, learn more about the symptoms to save a life. So as far as BAF, absolute wonderful organization. And when as I follow you and sometimes we chat via comment, I was very impressed that you are so deeply involved, I think, with BAF. And I think that's a wonderful thing. But I didn't realize that you were doing this for more than 9 years. It's like a job almost, like a full-time job almost, like, once a month, every year. So that, kudos to everyone that does that. And I told Rob too, I'm like, maybe one of these years we should represent the state of Delaware and join them. And
Yeah.
that's yeah, and that's the reason why I wanted to bring you on and tell you, what you're doing is so admirable because, do you feel like you're doing this as a way of like giving back to the community as well? Raising awareness, giving, you know,
Yes, do. But I have to say, it's really my caretaker husband in the background that
mm,
that supported me and said, "We got to do this." And if it
wow.
wasn't for him, I might have faded in the background. And once I got going,
Mm,
these people are all my friends now.
mm,
And I want to be there. And I would love to share as much information that I can remember
mm,
to as many people. Because our aneurysm was so rare, I get phone calls from people reaching out because they have something kind of similar and
mm,
they're so scared and they need to talk to somebody. So I've talked
yeah.
to people in Great Britain, I've talked to people in Canada, and actually I ended up going to Canada and I told her I was going and I wanted to look her up, and I actually
Oh, wow.
money and oh my god, we had so much fun. But yeah, I want to spread the word as much as possible, and the more people I meet, I mean, I always loved meeting people and
Mm,
talking to people, so that's just me.
yeah.
But my husband in the background to say, yes, you need to be involved.
Yeah, did he ever tell you why he pushed you to become
More vocal or
more involved?
involved?
He basically said, we owe them. We
Mm,
we owe them. You are living. And for me, I have always quoted Dr. Laura Schlesinger. She always says, what I have is proof that I'm still here. So any disability that I have that
mm,
nobody can see, it's to prove that I'm still here. So
mm,
I don't want to look bad on those things. I just want to go forward and just help people as much as possible
yeah.
to understand that, I mean, my recovery, Dr. Ogilvy told me my recovery was 5 years. And most people, they tell you how you are at a year, that's it. But my doctor said 5 years. And I
Mm,
actually found a difference between the fifth and the sixth year that I had not as much fatigue and
mm,
I remembered a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, your recovery can be long and it is
mm.
slow. And I don't think people understand how slow the recovery really can be. So
Mhm.
I think it's important to spread the word about,
Yeah.
the symptoms and, how we can help is always comes to mind.
Yeah, but I also think it's important what as far as what you're doing and sharing. And I love the fact that you went to Canada and reach out to this new best friend of yours. That's
Yeah.
awesome because when you meet another survivor, it's like you don't have to say anything. They get you.
Yes.
And I can understand why you want to stay with BAF. And you're saying that they're like
Yes.
everybody knows what everyone is feeling almost without even having to come up with the right word or share our feelings. It's like what one of my friends said. It's you're part of a club that you never knew you wanted to be a part of. You
Absolutely.
know?
Yes.
And I think the more that we share, and that's why we wanted to take up season 3 again because we were on a little bit of a hiatus, but I feel like it's so important that so many more if we could get as many people on the podcast to share, that would be great because perhaps your story may not resonate with one survivor, but it could resonate with so many others or vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
As long as you can share what you're going through because that could be exactly what they need to hear. And what they need to hear is hope. You're saying your recovery was 5 years. People would be like, "What?" I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
people have that enough patience or the willingness to continue going if that was their prognosis. It's like, yeah, you'll probably be normal again, in 5 years.
Yeah.
But to see you 13 years now into this and I love your personality, by the way. You just have this like light and look at that smile. See? So it's just wonderful that you're sharing what you're sharing because I think it's necessary. I think it's necessary for those that do not know what an aneurysm is, and it's educating people.
Yes.
And I think for us, being able to have conversations like this, I think it not only shows people that, one, they're not alone in this, but I think at the end of the day, I hope that after they listen to this, whatever segment it is, I hope that they have hope to continue.
Yes.
And yeah.
One thing that I want to share as well is that, when you're in the hospital and you can't get a word and they kind of teach you how to go around and describe the word. So one thing is during the week, I try to be so perfect. And on the weekends, whatever way the
Yeah.
words go, that's it. And we have so much fun with it. And so that's one thing that my husband and I do, and my family too. We all kind of laugh and we have some fun. But I'll give you an example of one thing. So, kind of at the beginning, I was trying to describe something to my husband, and I couldn't find the right word. So I said, this is an example of one thing that happened. So I said, that guy, he's in the state house. He works in the state house and he talks a lot. He talks a lot and he's in the state house. And my husband says, "Are you talking about the Speaker of the House?" And I said, but I mean, it's, you can't fault yourself for missing a word or going around in a circle trying to describe that.
Yeah.
So for us, we just laughed and laughed because that was a good one. That was a
Yeah, but
really,
it's great that you guys can make it fun,
Yeah.
or make
yeah.
it lighthearted and fun. It's like your own new form of charades or something.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but there are people that don't have a caretaker or they live in a different area where I was so lucky to have Boston near me. There are some people that don't really have the same medical facilities
Mm.
and or don't have that caretaker and it's just harder for them. And I don't mean to say that I was lucky or, it was it was very difficult,
Mm.
but, I try to make light of it. And I just think that that's just kind of how I always was. I was always a kid that said hi to everybody, and my parents were nervous I was going to go to someone else's family. I mean, I was kind of always that way.
Yeah.
So, but we do try to have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can, just to take a really quick step back as far as when you do these meetings or meetup in DC after these 9 years, and is the program still to get Ellie's Law
Yeah.
into, and do you see any progress that's being made?
Yes, we do. And it's the more we speak to our congressmen or representatives, they start pushing more because now they start recognizing you.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I remember you. And then it's just like I know a lot of the assistants by heart that they're still there, but some of them will push for you every single year. And every single year we just, so we're getting there and you can feel it and you can see it.
Yeah, and the reason why I ask is, a lot of times, we're almost like immune to like, oh, I don't think they're really going to listen.
Yeah.
Does this really make a difference? So for someone who may come across BAF when they're asking, hey, if would you want to represent your state? I myself want to know before I perhaps jump on board to see if my time out there would really be validated. I don't want to just go there just to go there. I want to be able to make sure that my voice would be heard and there's some progress being made. And it sounds like there's some positive changes. At least, the group is being heard. So it gives people more motivation to at least consider it.
And it makes you want to go back. It does.
Okay.
At the beginning, I was, kind of, what am I going to do? And you really don't know until I think a week before you go, they start sending you things. So you have nerves all the way up to that point. And then once we did it the first time, we knew we wanted to go back. And like this year, I had one congressman that, or one representative that is fairly new in Rhode Island. And he met with us. He didn't have his assistant meet with us. He met with us. He wanted to know everything, why we were there. And we talked for a while. Actually, I posted a picture of me in his office because he sat in the front of his desk. He had me sitting right next to him. And we talked like we knew each other. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And he said, what do you guys want and need? Because I'm all for it. There was a connection for this person because he had a teacher that had an aneurysm and his mother had, I believe, a brain tumor. Now they are both living. But he was very interested and wanted to know, what can I do? And so he promised he would do. So that was another one, know? So, and because of the fact that I'm in Rhode Island, we only see 4 people and they usually like us to visit 6 or 7 people. So you have 6 or 7 appointments. So they usually pair us up with someone else in another state. Most of the time it's a New England state. So we see other people and then they talk to their senators and it makes it kind of better for us because we get to see more people.
Okay. Well, I still hope you hold that senator from Rhode Island to the fire if things don't get.
I will. Yeah, there's 2 out of the 4 that they will keep voting for us for Ellie's Law. So those are 2 out of the 4. So we're 50%.
Good.
We had another one, but he's not there anymore. So we have to work on the other 2 new ones. Yeah.
So for you personally, whether it's, with things you do with BAF or other things in your life, what are your goals now for the near future?
For the near future, for brain aneurysm or personal?
Just in general, what you want to accomplish with your recovery and kind of just how you've.
I want to stay involved. I want to be able to help some people. If I can help one or two people, that is great. You can always help your brain by working out, as you know, Kathy. And so I'm always at the gym. I really like to pay attention and take care of my body as much as possible. I do love ice cream.
Me too.
So I have to be at that gym. But the brain really likes activity, physical activity. So I always like to do that. I'm either at the gym or going for a brisk walk or, always involved in somehow to be that way. I used to try to run. I was always second to last in the race. So I took up cycle. So I did that for many years. And then I moved to a state that cycling wasn't really big in their state. They had a lot of rainstorms. So on the side of the road, they had more ditches. So I didn't cycle that much anymore. So I joined a gym and I got hooked on that. And so that's what I like to do.
Yeah. That's awesome that you're still so active, which
Yeah.
obviously I am a fan of. But
Yes.
so remember that one earlier on when I said I was going to ask you a question. So here's the question. So I know obviously you love to be involved. You like to educate. You like to raise awareness. You want to share as much of your story as possible. We won't make you run, and I promise we will not take you away from BAF. But I think one of your goals should be to join us in Philly and meet our community and share your story, whether it's being there just to cheer us on while we're running or just meeting another club that I think you would absolutely adore.
I would totally love to do that. And you didn't know that I was a cheerleader for many years. Can't you tell?
That's true. That's true. Well,
we should have been able to.
Yeah.
I would only be a cheerleader for all of you, and I would love to meet more people, and I love Philly too.
Yeah.
So,
Philly is such a fun, historic.
Yes.
It's just a really fun city, but we would love to extend the invitation. It's, as you know, usually in November, our charity runs the Philadelphia Marathon Festival.
Yes.
And it's just a wonderful way to have family, survivors, their friends, and anybody that wants to be part of this community either run for us or just, be there to just share their love for either the person that they're supporting for. For us, it's more of, you're running the miles. It's not just miles. You're doing good with your miles.
Right.
And when I say it's a fun weekend, usually it culminates with a post-celebration, marathon celebration on Sunday. And I have to say that it's one of the best day of the year for me. One, I get to run a marathon, but also, you get to meet new survivors, you get to make new friends, and you just get to share your story and hear other people's story. And I think it would be such a privilege for you and your very loving and supportive husband, Chuck, to be there this November.
We would absolutely love to. I know he's going to a conference at some point in November, but give me the dates. I would definitely be there. Believe me, if he can be there, he will.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we always end our podcast with rapid fire questions. So if you're ready for some quick few rapid fire questions, and then we'll wrap it up. So the first one is, when life gets overwhelming, what do you do to reset?
Rapid fire. I walk away and come back.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Where would you say is your quote unquote happy place?
Happy place, I would have to say, is anywhere with my husband, Chuck. He's my best friend, and we do love certain places, but when we're best friends. We have been best friends since the beginning, so it's just that way.
Oh, they're so cute. Where's Chuck?
I don't know. I thought he was taking a test or
He
something.
he was sneaking around the back. I thought you were gonna say, well, of course it would be with Chuck at your favorite place, but I was like, oh, and also doing a math problem.
Or eating ice cream.
Or
That's
eating ice
right.
cream. Or eating ice cream.
Gotta be that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your advice for someone going through, what you went through?
My advice is to know that it is a slow process and don't get on yourself because you can get through more than you know. When you go through something like this, you don't know how strong you are, but you are very strong. But it is a slow process, and just know that.
It's very good advice. And then last one is, what is your life motto?
My life motto, I have to say that I do tell people, young people in my family, that you can be happy or you can be miserable. And happy is so much easier. So much easier.
True. It
Yeah.
is true.
Correct. And with that, I want to say thank you so much, Dawn. It is such a pleasure. Like, I only see your photos and, it's still, but I absolutely love that I got to see you in person today. And you're just like a ray of sunshine. When we're almost like Boston colors too, like
Yeah.
turquoise.
Oh,
Yeah. And
oh,
it's,
good.
and Boston Marathon is this coming Monday.
Yeah.
So it's so poetic that we are having this conversation
That
so
is
close
great.
to that date. Yeah.
You
But
know,
again,
we're doing good.
yes, we
Right.
are doing good.
Yes.
Yes. And so like I said, thank you so much. And I truly hope that we will see you this November.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah. So until then, thank you and keep doing good, Dawn.
Thank you so much, Kathy and Rob. I really appreciate you guys wanting to talk to me. And it was really a wonderful, wonderful talk tonight. Thank you.
We Run With You is a nonprofit with a mission to improve the lives of people suffering from brain injury and disease by funding research, raising awareness, and providing support for survivors and their families. Find out more at werunwithyou.org. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave a comment or review. Until next time, keep doing good.